HodgePodge. I like your beaver. I really like your beaver.
Welcome everybody to HodgePodge Woodworks. In today's video, I'll be trying a winged eccentric bowl out of this piece of Siberian elm. I've had this wood for a while now. This is something I've been wanting to try with this piece of wood. My old lathe didn't have a large enough swing to do so.
Robert, did you know the inner bark of Siberian elm was dried and ground into a powder for thickening soups and adding to cereal flours and bread making?
Of course I knew that, Harry. No, I didn't really know that. So I start off with the lathe around 500 RPMs. That's the quickest I could turn it without the lathe vibrating, which makes for a very slow roughing out of this bowl. My first step I was wanting to accomplish was to remove the bulk of the wood that would be under where the wing would be left to hopefully allow me to speed up the lathe.
I definitely prefer thicker wood to thin wood.
At this stage I wanted to true up the face of the wing so that I could get a constant thickness.
Trust me, guys, it looks amazing from this side. No, I'm just kidding.
I begin making the bowl at this stage.
Alright, I could go for a bowl.
A bowl of soup is the only type of bowl you'll be getting, maybe thickened with Siberian elm bark. You know, Harry, I could make you a smaller one of these, and it could be a baseball cap.
No thanks, Robert. I hear wearing caps make you go bald.
But doesn't everybody prefer bald beavers nowadays?
Who wants to be bald? Haven't you seen Double D? I think I'm actually gonna grow out my hair.
I began sanding the flat wood with my random orbital sander from 80 grit to 400 grit. I always like to put a hole in my bottom to realign later when I turn off the tenon.
You already have a hole in your bottom.
When reversing the bowl, you want to make sure you get the bowl centered properly in the chuck so that the two faces of the wing will be parallel to one another. I check that by putting the banjo up against the wing and seeing if the gap is equal across while I rotate it. I ended up having to do a little readjustment here with the tailstock. At this point, I just remove any leftover high spots, and then it's hollowing out a bowl as usual.
That's great, so you're almost done? I'm starving. I'm really craving a banana.
I use a parting tool here to put a square corner on the bowl. Throughout this whole turning, this is a point I was dreading when I had to remove the tailstock and hollow out the inside. At this stage, there was lots of sanding to do because the wing kept on flexing when I tried to make cuts to make it smooth.
Oh baby, that's one fine looking crotch.
Turn off the tenon, I turned a sacrificial block and used some high density packing foam